maybe we were flowers, soaking up every ray of sun to grow 1 inch closer to one another. Or maybe we were songbirds, flying high upon the wind, and every night in the trees I'd sing you to sleep. Whatever the truth is, one thing's for sure, I've got a timeless place for you in my heart. How I could love you this much, I don't know, but there's this ageless feeling that tells me more and more I must have loved you before. Maybe I was the ocean and you were the sandy beach, and every minute I was falling at your feet. Or maybe you were the moon, oh, and I was just the dark, living in your sweet light, thanking God I was where you are. They say love is eternal, well, I guess they must be right, 'cause I've got a timeless place for you in my heart. How I could love you this much, I don't know. There's this ageless feeling that tells me more and more I must have loved you before. Whenever you kiss me, well, it feels like coming home. I've got a timeless place for you in my heart. How I could love you this much, baby, I don't know, but there's this ageless feeling that tells me more and more I must have loved you before. There's this ageless feeling that tells me more and more I must have loved you before.
I'd like to do a poem about my gal Sal. The name of the poem is My Gal Sal. Now, my gal Sal lived down in Moonshine Holler Street in a little white house painted green with 2 front doors round and back. One day I asked my dad, could I go down to Moonshine Holler Street and see my gal Sal? He asked me, he didn't care, so I went out to the barn, saddled up the horse, climbed up on the fence, and was riding along kind of steady like when the far corner post bucked me off in a 10-foot gully on a grassy hillside. I got up and found out everything was okay except I'd tore a sleeve out of my best Sunday pants. So I got back on and went on down to Moonshine Holler Street to see my gal Sal. When I got down there, I went around the back and knocked on the front door. My gal Sal asked me, would I come in? I asked her, I didn't care. So I went in the house, threw my hat in the fireplace, spit on the bed, and started talking about politics and every other kind of ticks. Then my gal Sal asked me, would I like to go down to the apple orchard to pick some plums to bake a cherry pie? I asked her, I didn't care. So we started off just as close together as we could get, her on one side and me on the other side of the road. When we got down there, my gal Sal asked me, would I like to climb that apple tree to pick them plums to bake that cherry pie? I asked her, I didn't care, so I climbed up there and was picking along kind of steady like when the limb gave loose and I fell down and straddled the fence with both legs on one side.
His life began down in Cashman County, the same year as the Great Depression. He was a schoolboy, even got a diploma, but where did he get his education? Was it lunch, drink, dragging ghost, morning rock, pine knob, or up on at a no-kill? How about Davy Canyon, Davy Creek, Big Saddle, Big Rock, or Pocket Knife Tree, better still? He and his young wife started a new life, settled down on a ranch up in Cary. The life of a cowboy was his main ambition, nothing fancy, kind of ordinary. Remember Lake Hills, Hogs Back, White Rock, Littlewood, Roundup on Laidlaw Park, Howard's Reservoir, Box Canyon, Fort Place, changing water in the cove after dark. They came to Matthew with 6 kids and some horses in December of '69. Winters are cold here, raising cattle ain't easy, but everything worked out just fine. Remember Chip and Bill, Windy City, Cheap and even Colt 45. Fred and Barney pulled a sleigh, Cheyenne, April, Lucky Tie, Red and Sparky, he loved to ride. From Little Lost to Big Lost, past Creek Summit to the Gorge, Elbow Canyon to Condon Springs. He lived here nearly 50 years and no one ever really could explain to him what it all means. Now he sold off the ranch, bought him a quarter section, keeps a few cows and raises hay. Over 80 good years of living his dream, there's some things only a cowboy can say. He's worked with ropes and reins, whips and bridles, cinches, halters, lead ropes, saddles and barbed wire fence. He wears boots and jeans, spurs and shafts, silk bandana and a cowboy hat. To some folks it all makes no sense. His life is over now, but he's still a cowboy. Scores of stories and poems he does know. Every time he appears at a cowboy gathering, he steals the show. His life began down in Cassia County, the same year as the Great Depression.
You know, I've been watching these balladeers and I really admire them. Gosh, Bill up here and John and Sam Pete, they play those guitars and so I thought I'd like to do that, and nobody's ever really asked me to, but I went and slipped my guitar in here and I'd like to sing a little song that I wrote. I got one of these newfangled guitars. You don't even have to plug in, and I got this here strap too, and I figured that the colors would match about anything. So I'd like to sing a little song that I wrote.
Okay, I guess it takes a little practice. Yeah, I'd like to sing a little song that I wrote, but well, I'd really like to, but I never did write one. So I'll sing an old ballad. How about Red River Valley? You like that song? From this valley, from this valley. Sometimes I have a little trouble getting my pitch. From. I don't know. You know, my finger's a little stiff. A guy hit me in the nose the other day and broke that finger right there. From the well, I should have crossed it there somewhere. I don't know. You know, my wife's a music teacher. She's been teaching me how to play the guitar. You know, but you know, our kids can all sing. Them kids, they can get their pitches just like that, and them kids can harmonate. You know, and you know, we got 6 kids. They're all boys, but 3. And it was quite a job raising kids. You know, one day I had a little boy, he was about 5 or 6, and he came in the house, and his hands and arms was all scratched, and his face was scratched, and it was bleeding. And I said, "What the heck happened to you?" And he says, "Did you ever try to baptize a cat?" I think the kids all take after their mother. Of course, I take after myself once in a while. She told me that I should be more religious. And I said, "What do you mean more religious?" She says, "Well, at your age, you should spend more time thinking about the hereafter." And I says, "I think about the hereafter all the time." She says, "You do?" And I said, "Yeah, every time I go out on the porch or in the kitchen or out to the shop, I think, now what in the devil am I hereafter?" And so she told me, she says, "Your memory's getting bad. You ought to have a checkup." So she made an appointment for me with the doctor, and he went in and he checked me over, and he says, "Well," he says, "you know, as you get older, well, your memory starts fading. But," he says, "we've got this new drug out that's helped a lot of people. If you'd like to try it, I'll give you a prescription." I said, "Sure, it sounds like a good deal. It's worth trying." So he got his little pad out to write the prescription on it, reached in his pocket and get his pen, and he pulled it out, and it was a thermometer. He says, "Oh, brother, some bum's got my pen."
This valley, they say you are going. I will miss your bright eyes and sweet smile. They say you are taking the sunshine that has brightened our pathway. Come and see
sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu, but remember the Red River Valley and the cowboy who loves you so true. I've been thinking a long time, my darling, of those sweet words you never would say. Now, alas, all my fond hopes have vanished. They say you are going away. Come and sit by my side if you love me. Do not hasten to bid me adieu, but remember the Red River Valley and the cowboy who loves you so true.
This newfangled phone with gadgets right up to date. You put in the numbers you use most and you don't have to wait. You push 1 for mother, 2 for sister, and so on down the line. You put in the doctor, the vet, and 911, and it was working fine. Then my old quarter horse mare got a little sick. I'd called the vet and he'd come right out, and it seemed to do the trick. And my wife stopped by the doctor for a checkup, and all was well. Next morning, that mare was sick again. Boy, she was bad sick, I could tell. I ran in the house and grabbed the phone and pushed the number 6. I thought that was the number for the vet, but it got me in a fix. It seems the number that I pushed was really for the doc. I just said, "Get out here quick, I ain't got time to talk. Whatever you'd done yesterday worked fine for a while, but now she's down and she can't get up. I think she's gone her last mile." "Well, I can't bring her into the office where you're at. I can't load her by myself. She's just getting too gall-darn fat." "Well, I tried everything I could think of to try and get her up. The cattle prod, the buggy whip, and my blue heeler pup." "Well, if you can't come on out, I'll just go put a bullet in her head. She ain't no good the way she is. She might as well be dead. Besides, my neighbor picked up this little filly down there in Utah. She's just about the cutest thing I think I ever saw. She's got a real nice rear end, and she's well developed in the chest. She's just so gall-darn pretty, I don't know what I like best. She's as sweet and lovely as a nice warm summer's dawn. She looks good in a halter, but she looks better with nothing on. I'm pretty sure I can get her, and if I work it right, well, I could have her here with me by tomorrow night." On second thought, you done enough yesterday. I'll just go get my gun and put that old girl away. I'll dig a hole with the tractor and cover it up with soil. She deserves that much for 20 years of toil. I hung up the phone and turned around, and the sheriff was in the yard. He said to come out with my hands up and not to make it hard. There also was a SWAT team with their guns trained on the door. They said if I resisted arrest, they'd shoot me, and that was for sure. I told my wife, get behind the fridge. I wasn't going to leave her. I was thinking I might be another Randy Weaver. I took off one of my socks and waved it left and right. But then it was wet and yellow instead of the original white. Well, after I'd surrendered and the handcuffing was all done, then some weirdo frisked me, and boy, that wasn't any fun. Well, after all the explaining was done, the laughter just wouldn't stop. And now I do all my calling from the phone out in the shop.
Howdy, folks. It's good to be here. Really a nice looking audience. I just thought I'd mention it. I'm not really stoved up. I'm just practicing that for when I get old. I got a request for a poem. Well, my old friend Wayne had an accident. It seems he had treated himself to a nip and came home late with the bottle stash in his pocket there on his right hip. He fumbled around for his house key because his wife habitually locked it. He stepped through the door, slipped on the rug, and the bottle broke in his pocket. He bit his tongue to stifle a scream. He could feel the pieces of glass as they cut through his pants and underwear, carving X's and O's on his person. He raced to the bathroom to check it, then proceeded to make his repairs, depleting the entire first aid kit, then quietly slipped up the stairs. The next morning, he slept like a baby until his wife, who was loud as Big Ben, shattered his peaceful dreams by saying, "So, you came home last night drunk again." "Oh, but dear, I thought you were sleeping." "Yes, I was, but it's perfectly clear. I just came up from the downstairs room and there's Band-Aids all over the mirror." I went to the doctor for a checkup, and he said, "I think I better check you out a little more. Why don't you just stay in the hospital tonight?" And so I said, okay. But after a while, they came in and told me to go on home because I was taking a turn for the nurse. You know, this time of year, and it's calving time, and about anything can happen when they're calving, because those cows really get upset when you mess around with their calves. And they like to catch those calves right after they're born before they can outrun you and tag them. And Baxter Black wrote this little poem. One afternoon, me and Roy went out to check the cows. We'd finished lunch and washed our salt and forced ourselves to rouse. We'd spoken through the heavy bunch of calves to tag and check. I spotted one, but his old mom was bowing up her neck. She pawed the ground, shook her head of throwing froth and spit, then bellowed like a wounded bull. "Hey, Roy," I said, "let's quit." But Roy was bent on tagging him and thought to make a grab. "Just drive up there beside that calf and I'll pull him in the cab." Oh, great. Another stroke of genius of cowboy daring do. And sure enough, when Roy nabbed that calf, his mama came in too. And I do mean climbed up in there. She got a foot behind the seat. She punched a horn right through the windshield, and she wasn't very neat. She was blowing stuff out both her ends till the cab was slick and green. It was on the seat, and on the roof, and on the calf vaccine. Now, if you've ever been in a dryer at the local laundromat with a bear and 50 horseshoes, then you'll know just where we's at. At one point, she was sitting up, just going for a ride. Then she tore the gun rack down. The calf went out my side. He's poking through the heavy. I left something out. It's all right, I'll remember tomorrow.
Fighting with the door lock.
Okay. I was fighting with the door lock, which she smashed passing by when she peeked up through the steering wheel and looked me in the eye. We escaped like parachuters out the window, landed clear. But that cow just kept on driving because the truck was still in gear. She topped the hump, then disappeared. The blinker light came on. But if she turned, we never saw, because by then my truck was gone. I looked at Roy. My truck's a wreck. My coveralls are soaked. I'll probably never hear again. I think my elbow's broke. And look at you, you're pitiful, all crumbled up and stuff, like you've been ate by wild dogs and barfed out over a cliff. But think about it, Roy said. Since Grandpa was alive, I think that that's the firstest time I've seen a cattle drive.
I'm a fairly frequent victim of the Eat More Beef campaign. I've read the ads and seen the spots, intended to explain that if I will eat real beef, I will be real people and have more iron inside me than a rusty army jeeple. It'll make me thin and happy and put my life in order. Now, I believe in principle. I've been a firm supporter. But sometimes all this hoopla just plain gives me the jitters. You see, I've got a vested interest. I raise the blasted critters, which tends to make me cynical, to doubt or even scoff it. But from a cowman's point of view, it ain't all fun and profit. They've crippled more than one good horse and countless good blue heelers, an order buyer now and then, and hordes of wheeler dealers. And as for me, well, I've had my share of wounds and lacerations, of broken heads and swollen thumbs, unwanted perforations. They've knocked me down and knocked me out and overhauled my keister. They woke me up on Christmas Day and kept me up till Easter. They've embarrassed and ignored me, annoyed and misused me. They've broke me flat as hammered pie, mistreated and abused me. And yet I keep on coming back like bees keep making honey. Maybe I'm a masochist, because it dang sure ain't the money. So when they tell me eat more beef, well, I try and be attentive. But telling me's a waste of time. I have my own incentive. I've spent a lifetime working cows, which keeps a man believing. And you bet your life I eat more beef. I eat it to get